I walk by them at the store. It's so hard for me to not buy them, but I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? It's just pure sugar and corn syrup and all those horrible things, and you shouldn't eat it. So we all have our things.
Yeah, and then also I like eating breads.
Oh, I love
tortillas.
bread. Are you kidding
I love
me?
tortillas.
I cheated today. I had a burrito with one of the best tasting tortillas at a really nice little spot in Silver Lake. And I said, I can almost taste every bit of butter and lard inside this tortilla. And it's so good. So good. It was like that perfect, crispy, flaky, but still doughy. And I was like, oh, this thing was made right.
I know. It's like, that is always like but you have to have
cheese is my thing too.
Cheese is good.
Bread and cheese.
And
so my rule of thumb is this. I don't bring things in my house that are bad for me.
Yeah.
But when I go out to eat, I will indulge. But I just won't let them in my house.
Yes.
Because I can't have cheese in my house. Because I'll eat it all by myself. I'll just sit there with a block of cheese. Not a worry in the world. Don't you love that?
I love it, yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
I was looking at thereallisaann.com.
Right.
I love how you have everything in hashtags like sports.
Yeah, I thought that'd be fun.
Yeah, it's like I really like this. Like you just hit it and it goes to everything. You're doing fantasy baseball now.
Yes,
and
I am in second place right now in the Sirius XM Fantasy Baseball League. And by the way, she knows my boss, our boss. She used to work with Matt Deutsch.
Yeah.
I am crushing Matt Deutsch. He's in like 7th place, and it's so awesome to be able to be. It's so awesome to be able to be competitive with your boss.
Yeah.
Because I really respect my boss, and since you know him, you understand he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
But when it comes to being competitive in sports,
yes,
you know what? You can just shit talk all you want, and it's just so great. Every time we have a business email that goes back and forth, there's always like a PS of like, man, your pitchers are getting nailed this week. And he got me into fantasy baseball. And fantasy baseball is a sport that not a lot of women cover. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if I can really get good at this. And last year I finished in last place. It was horrible for me. It was my first year playing. It was so hard because I couldn't really wrap my head around it. And I just didn't really get it yet. And I also had to fall in love with baseball to be good at a fantasy sport. There are people out there who just play DFS and who just know the numbers and they look at it a very different way. But I feel like if you're going to be good at a fantasy sport, you have to kind of have some sort of love affair for that sport. You have to love it because you have to want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it hit me this year. So about 3 months before the season started, I took 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and just studied Major League Baseball. From the breakdowns of different parks, whether it's a pitcher-friendly park or a hitter-friendly park, to the matchups between which pitchers are lefties or righties and which batters are lefties or righties, to different weather situations, to the AL League and the NL League. I just studied. And I would print out team rosters.
Yeah.
And I would take 10 team rosters to the gym with me, and I would just sit there on cardio and just memorizing. And it was just repetitive, right? Because the more you do something, I'll tell you, I'm in a league with guys and a couple wonderful ladies that have been playing for years. And the fact that I'm in second place is such a great accomplishment. And it also reminded me that, you just got to apply yourself in life, and you really got to really want to do something. And I really want to prove our wonderful friend Matt Deutsch right. Yeah. So I really wanted to show him I could do this. And now being in second, I know that next year I've solidified myself to be on air all year long, because baseball is a 10-month sport.
It is.
Fantasy football is only, a 3-month sport.
Yes.
So I really want to get my foot in with other sports so I can just continue to grow my fantasy sports career while I'm still doing everything else that I enjoy. And I love watching baseball now. She sees me in my office and I have the screen on however many games are. So if there's 8 games on, I'm watching 8 games at one time. And if one game gets good, I'll just go into the big screen with just that one game. And I can't believe that I've actually gotten to the point where I am enthralled watching a baseball game. I'm watching the pitcher. I'm watching the sneaky player who wants to try and steal bases, distract the pitcher. I'm watching the catcher communicating with the pitcher that this guy's trying to steal a base. And I'm just loving all of it. Baseball seemed like such a silent sport to me for years. It almost seemed boring. Yes. But once I read about it and I learned what's really going on, I understood all of the signs and signals, I was like, you know what? This is a pretty fascinating sport now that I dove in.
That's amazing. That's so great.
It's a mental accomplishment too. This isn't a money league. I'm not winning anything but bragging rights, but it was really merely the challenge. finishing in last year and then having a talk with myself and saying, this will not be your life. Like, you will not be in last place next year. You will figure this out and you will put your time in and you will prove to everyone that you're committed.
That's amazing that you've mastered it, because it is difficult. Baseball, like you said, it's really difficult.
Change your lineup every day.
Yeah, because
every day.
You're at, because it's all, like you said, it's not like
it's
football.
182 games per team.
Yes, and they're constantly going, so you have to stay on it or forget it.
And there's injuries every day.
Yeah.
And your players, you got to find out which pitchers are pitching. If anybody has a 2-start week versus a 1-start week, like, it is the next layer of geekdom. Like, I have hit a layer where even Matt had said to me, I got to go to New York and see him a couple of weeks ago. We had a big FSTA, Fantasy Sports Conference. And he said to me, Lisa, I kind of feel bad that I pulled you into this ridiculously nerdy, geeky thing. And now you're like so into it. And I'm like, don't feel bad. Yeah. It's a healthy hobby. What's wrong with me learning something new? There's never a time in your life that putting yourself in front of a challenge and saying, I'm going to do this, it's never going to be the wrong choice.
No, it's not. And the fact that you've mastered it, and you said this is going to secure a place for you to start doing fantasy baseball on XM.
And I got a fantasy baseball show this year. Now, 4th of July weekend, we switched everything over to fantasy football. But for the first 4 months of baseball, I was doing a Saturday baseball show with my co-host, and it was awesome because that really made me have to step up my game as well.
Yeah. That's amazing.
New challenges.
So anyone that's into fantasy football and fantasy sports, where can they hear you?
You can hear me Monday nights on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy, and that's on Sirius 210 XM 87. It's Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can listen on demand. You can use the app. It's just wonderful. It's been a great little distraction in life for me.
This is really, really good.
Yeah.
It's really good, like football and now baseball.
And I also do basketball.
You're doing basketball
I
too?
always did basketball. Basketball came second nature to me because I'm such a basketball fan.
Yeah, you're a huge basketball fan. That's basketball. When I first met you many, many, many years ago.
Yep.
I remember you would always go to games all the time.
Yep. That's my life.
You had like season tickets.
Yep. And it's just been turning that hobby into an actual job has been really cool.
Now, would you say that basketball is not as difficult as baseball when it comes to fantasy, or would they be equally, since there's a lot of games?
They're equally difficult. And when I ask people to get into a fantasy basketball league, they have the same feeling. They're like, oh, there's so many games and it's such a long season. You have to change your lineup every day. But because I just knew basketball better and I knew all the players and I knew all these stadiums and the arena, there's not a difference. The hoops are in the same spot. It's not like the porch is shorter like the Yankees, in right field. Like there's not as many variables. They're not playing outside. So a rain delay can't happen, so it came more naturally to me. But for some people, it's the same challenge.
Yeah, no, I would think that it would be difficult.
Now, remember when I saw you in February, I told you I was going to start adventure seeking again and going to some trade shows and seeing what it was going to be like. I have to tell you, taking full year off from traveling altogether and taking 2.5 years off from any events in the industry has been really neat. Because when I've gone to Exotica Denver and 2 weeks ago we were in Exotica Chicago, I'm thrilled about how many of my fans are just ecstatic to see me, but also to see that I've put myself to this challenge and that I've taken this new career seriously. And they're like fascinated. Sure, they still love the old me, but it's really interesting how I've managed to inspire strangers on a whole next level. And the conversations they have with me and the fact that they make a time to say, I'm really excited that you tried something new and that you're enjoying it. Like, that's a lot for people to walk up to you and to express genuine kindness and appreciation and putting some value. That is so it's been really emotionally rewarding being in front of everybody and seeing that they get it. They get that you're going to need a different job after you've been in the business for so many years. They get that you're not going to want to travel forever. You might not have thought they were going to get it, but they get it. And they also get that they can still watch my scenes whenever they want. But they're more happy that I'm doing the next thing, and I didn't expect that response.
And not just scenes, but they also now the Savage fleshlights.
Yes, because we wanted to give them something new since I'm not giving them new scenes. And they are thrilled about my new texture. Fleshlight was very awesome to allow me to have some say in picking the name, which I thought Savage was great. All the cool kids are using it.
Yes, they are.
And to give me the best Fleshlight texture yet, which has some really cool ribbing and coils inside of it. It has a much different grip, and we're getting great reviews on it. I am thrilled. You can check it out at Fleshlight. It's called The Savage. It's been exciting to have something new to promote.
How long did it take to put the Savage together, your Fleshlight?
They were pretty great. We started the mental process in March, and they wanted to release it for me around my birthday, which they did. So it really only took them from March to May. We had already done my mold years ago from my other Fleshlight. So what we did was we took my molds and we put a beautiful new texture in it to make it a brand new Fleshlight.
That's nice. So the other one that you have, what's the name of the...
I have a Lotus. I have a Barracuda.
That's right, Barracuda.
The Barracuda. I love my names, my Lotus, my Barracuda. But, Fleshlight is one of the few companies I worked for in the industry that has been professional and consistent and kind to all of their girls. And I love the husband and wife duo that started the company. And I love just getting together with them. I just got to see them in Austin. And it's neat to be a part of something that was a small family business that now employs an incredible amount of people. And next level, it helps stores make more money. It helps the girls make more money. I mean, it's just neat to see people be able to create something, just two people creating something that spawns off to be this magic. Just magic.
Yeah. So, men, if you want to unleash the Savage in you, you have to go to fleshlight.com.
You do.
And get Savage.
You do. And I just today found out that I'm going to be going. Do you remember all the award shows? So there's an award show in Florida, in Tampa, called Night Moves.
I didn't know that
and
one.
Night Moves is similar to, they do Adult Film Star Awards, they do Dancer Awards, and it's a really cool event. I just got invited to host it. So on Sunday, October 8th, I will be in Tampa at the Dollhouse, and I'll be hosting, and I'm thrilled to be able to use my voice, my radio skills. We learn to get better at doing reads and everything else. Whereas years ago, when somebody would ask me to present an award, I would get so nervous before I went on stage. You're so worried about reading something and saying it wrong and pronouncing the people's names. I can remember how nervous I was. Just getting over your fear of public speaking is a huge accomplishment. And now knowing that I'm oh, cool. I'm getting hired because I can speak, not just because I can get naked. This is really exciting.
How did you get over the fear of public speaking? And what did radio help you get over it?
I wasn't doing radio yet. Okay, so this is great. When I was married, my husband and I both listed our fears, and we both had the same fear of public speaking. So we decided together to join the Chamber of Commerce in Huntington Beach. And the Chamber of Commerce has meetings the first Friday of every month. Yeah. And as business owners, you get up and you stand up and you talk about your business from anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes. Yeah. And so we were like, okay, we can go every other month in the beginning, and then we can share our time 3 minutes each. And we're going to do this once a month for a year. And it's going to totally help us get over our fear of public speaking. And that changed it for me, because up until that point, I was mortified every time I did a radio show. I was just nervous. I'd be nervous before I went on stage to present something. And that was was just a tool. We were we are going to use this. The Chamber of Commerce was also a great experience, because you learn how your small community works, and you learn that you meet local business owners and you only patron their business, and you're all supporting each other. And if a new business comes along, you all try and get your printing done through this new business and help them start. So it was he and I together. I conquered mine. He still did not love his. But for me, I got more exercise afterwards, because I got to continue to go on stage and do things and host things. And now, being that I'm going to host an entire award show, which means I'll be on stage talking for a couple of hours.
Wow,
and I'm not even nervous. I'm excited about it. Whereas years ago, I'd be like, let me think about it for a couple days. I don't know if I can do it. I just get so anxious. And now it's no. And I'm also proud to be able to go up in front of the girls that are still active in the industry. Yeah. I think it is so important for the young women in the industry to have someone to look at and be like, okay, I may survive this. She's okay. Maybe I'm going to be okay, because there's moments in the adult business that are tumultuous, to say it, and crazy, and you're fearful. And that fear, I remember every day thinking will I ever get another job? What's my life going to be like after this? And that anxiety is constantly brewing. So I think it's a really neat thing for me to be able to stand in front and be like, guys, I got this. If I can do this, you can do this.
Yeah.
You're going to be good. If you want any advice, you can come to me if there's anything you need. So it's just that being on stage and being in front of all of the girls is just another reminder that I'm right there, arms reach away, to help them plot and plan to make whatever they want to do next. And if they want to stay in the business forever, that's great too.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where sometimes it's really about the traveling or whatever it is that you're like, I just want to do something different.
And you're a great example of you can do anything you want to do because